it means you're not doing market research. And how will you not do market research if you want a business to succeed? How will you not do market research if you want your business to succeed? I think you need to pay attention, because what I'm actually talking about, I expect it to reflect in your pitch. So you need to pay attention. That's actually why I want to run through it. Because if it doesn't reflect in your pitch, then we will assume that you would have lost that score. So the pitch has, there are scores for different elements. For your presentation, how you will deploy the grants, your composure and all of that, So all of these elements have scores. And one of the elements is what I want to make sure that you understand it, and if you have questions, we can discuss it. That's what I'm actually running through it. So which is market research. Because when you talk about your target market, the question would be, how viable is the market you are targeting? What is the size of the market? And what is we talk about the total addressable market and all of that. So there must be a systematic process, and you need to find a way to determine the viability of your solution, which is your product or your service, to the problem you mentioned in your problem statement. Next slide. So before come back again, before we move. So more often than not, the purpose of market research is to look at the market to determine how the audience will receive your product or your service, and the experts call it product market fit and customer discovery. So when you are pitching a business to investors, when you have done your thorough homework, part of what we show is when you expect to achieve product market fit. That means when your products have been able to gain a certain level of acceptance in the market, which of course is always reflected in maybe in terms of sales, in terms of number of users, in terms of one or the other. For example, platforms like many social media platforms, when they start, they usually gauge their progress in terms of number of people that have signed up on the platform. You recall the new one that Facebook came up with? Is anyone aware of that? Threads. Immediately it came up, it was like, it will overthrow Twitter. Then suddenly nobody is hearing of Threads again. So it is the acceptance now of your product or service in the market that determines whether your product will be successful or not. You can imagine almighty Facebook with all the billions of dollars at their disposal, with all their experience at their disposal. How would they know that Threads will not fly as much as they expected it to fly? How would they know? So you see, no matter what you know about business, no matter what you think, especially you think you have acquired, until you really test what you have in the marketplace and get the real feedback, you can never really be sure that it will fly or it will not fly. Next slide. So, market size. So you're looking at market size. For example, your products, your service that you want to bring, the solution to the problem you want to bring. What is the likely size of people that have that problem you want to solve? And how did you find out that that's the size? You'll be wondering, maybe sometimes people say that your service or product is for the whole country, the whole Nigeria. But of course, you know that the whole country will not patronize you, right? So in the country and in that area of pain you're looking at, living the pain, what is the likely number of persons having that pain? Does anybody have a likely clue in your area of interest? Does anybody have any idea the probably number of persons who are likely having the problem of this? Do you understand what I'm asking? So I'm going to find out if you have done anything about your market size. Is anybody that have an idea? Maybe you try to find out, to know. Anybody? Okay, so your market size is an essential element of your pitch. Because what that helps to do is that it helps to tell your prospective investor that you've actually done your research and that you have this thing really sorted out. Because if you don't have an idea of the size of the market you're looking at, how would you have an idea of when you will break even? In the business plan, there's a break-even point, right? Yeah. You bring it in your business plan. So how would you have an idea of when you will break even if you don't have an idea of the number of persons that will patronize? You won't know. Next slide. Sometimes it could be a hypothesis. Sometimes it could be a hypothesis. Based on certain factors, you can make an informed guess. So it doesn't mean it must be an exact figure, but based on certain indicators which will make sense to anybody that will hear you. So you can make an informed guess that based on XYZ, this is what you're likely looking at. For example, let's use somebody's business as an example. Who have we not talked about his or her business? Is there anybody who have not talked about your business? We can use your business as an example and illustrate and maybe work with it. Anybody? Okay, we have all talked about all of your businesses.
Is it the existing business or proposed business?
Whether existing or proposed. The one you are presenting is what I'm talking about. Whether it's existing or proposed.
You that came up with something it was then best chance.
Me?
Yes.
Okay, based on your recommendations yesterday, I made some amendments to my business idea.
Okay.
So I'll be offering effective and reliable tutorial services to students in the non-academic institutions in River State.
That's the tough one. Now you
on all, sorry, just did you say all the academic institutions?
Yes, because yes.
No, all, right?
Yes, in River State.
In River State?
Yes.
Okay, so that means you have an idea of the number of academic institutions in River State?
Yes, I do.
So, for him, having a size of the market is very easy. So, if you were to calculate the size of your market, how will you do that?
I will check the number of students.
Very easy. Since he knows the number of institutions, and getting the number of students in the particular institution is actually easy, is it not?
Yes,
it's very easy. So that means the size of the market is looking at is actually easy to have an idea of. So that's the kind of thing I'm talking about, the size of the market. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Then inside that number, of course, everybody in all these institutions will not patronize it.
Yes.
So inside that number, you begin to look at what the addressable market is in that total number you're looking at. What the people who may likely be able to, patronize this service, right? So you get an idea of what we're talking about now. So with his own, it's just straightforward for him. Okay, next slide. So you have the primary research, the secondary research. When we're talking about um, Monday, even yesterday, when we were looking at the design thinking strategy to come up with your business concepts, we kept talking about going out of the building. Instead of staying in the building and just putting everything together in your brain, we say go out and talk to your primary market. Talk to your primary market. So when you're doing your market research, you have your primary research, you have your secondary research. So your primary data is first-hand information from the original sources. So from the persons who likely fit into your target market, getting first-hand information from them is your primary data. And you could ask them questions, either directly, verbally, or on surveys and interviews, focus groups, and all of that. It can also be through observations. Yeah? So you have your primary data, you have your secondary data. When you go online to try to do a search, which one is that one? Primary or secondary? Secondary. So it won't be the best to be able to conclude on a business based only on secondary data. You're getting the idea. There should be some form of primary data as well. Because as they depend them, as they depend them, you need to find out how you depend them. No be so? Yes. And that's what we say is empathy, is it not? Yes. Then how will you know as you depend them if there is no form of primary data? Okay, next slide. I actually just want to rush through this. So we've talked about secondary data.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, please. If you have a question, just call my attention. Go ahead.
It's about survey.
Yeah.
Conducting a survey is a kind of expensive.
Okay.
Because you have to.
Please, can we go back to the last slide?
You have to administer a kind of questionnaire.
Interviews.
And it's going to cost you. You need to get some printouts and then in paper form before you can do that. If you are starting a business and you don't have the fund to do that, how are you going to get these responses from your customers?
Who wants to help him? You have read this question. Who wants to help him with a suggestion? Who wants to help him? We all understood his question, right? Yeah? Sorry? No, he's saying that conducting survey is expensive. Anybody we don't do school project will not say he's right, no be so. To conduct survey no be more, no be so. But what we're saying is there a way out? Yes.
So I think it's expensive when you want other people to help you go into the field. But if you're willing to do the work yourself, if you're willing to gather the data yourself, it's not so expensive.
Sometimes you use assumption.
Assumption is not research now.
Ask questions. That is interview. Asking questions is interview.
Come on. You are all focused on only on one side. What of the same survey, sharing it online, say, please help me. I get it all the time online. People just, even sometimes people just go on their wall or their and say, please help me do this. For example, as we are all here now, we have social media handles, right? What if after leaving here, you come up with a questionnaire and you go to the WhatsApp group and drop the link online, say please help me check this and help me share it to your own followers. Is it not the same thing? Go ahead.
Let me add something. We are okay, what if my business, my kind of customers are really local consumers in rural areas? How do I get to these people if they don't have
Okay, so let's not waste time. The bottom line is that if you are interested, you find a way.
Yeah,
That's the bottom line. So at the point you are starting, you don't have money. What do? If you're interested, you have a way. So I was talking about that book, Right Solutions. Please help me with a copy of that book. when we wrote that book, myself and my friend, our target was, because a book is also like a business. Our target was, how do we, thank you, how do we, okay, we went for a workshop in Aba, myself and my friend David, he's late now. We went for a workshop in Aba. And while we were waiting for the workshop to start, so we were at the book stand at the hotel, Venus Hotel in Aba, we were at the book stand. And we were looking at the books at the book stand. And we started talking. You see, we were asking ourselves, how come all the books on success are all foreign books? As at that time. We were like, that something is missing, this is not right. So it was a discussion we had, we forgot about it. But when we came back to Port Harcourt, after some time again, that thought we had in our back came back again. And we said, okay, maybe we can do something about it. I'm coming to what you're saying now. But the question is, how do you know those who started with nothing to accomplish success in their business? So we needed data. You get the point now. So, but how do we get the data? That was the challenge. How do we get the data? So one thing led to another. There is an entrepreneurship training organization, Faith Foundation, FATE, founded by Fola Adiola, former MD of Trust Bank. So they used to have an office here in Port Harcourt, but now they've closed that office. It's only the one they have in Lagos now. So we were connected with that particular office. So we went to them and we asked them that do they have a database that they can share with us about, because most of the people they were using them as facilitators in their programs were all successful business, so to say, people who are really doing well in business. Like the programs I attended, there are people like Frank Nenji, owner of ABC, was one of the facilitators. People like the owner of Genesis was one of the facilitators. So these are people who were, even as at that time, they were doing well. So we begged them, can they share that database with us? So they gave us names and contacts and all of that. So we started. I'm talking about data now. I was started reaching out. So we have to reach these people one by one. You are asking, how do you reach people who are in the rural communities, who are not online and all of that, whom you need to ask questions? Is it not the question? Yes. How about bros? You visit them now. So his bone of contention is the cost. We also just printed a form. We didn't have the money. We have to be going one by one. Yeah? Okay. Fortunately, our area of focus was mostly those who were around us here in Port Harcourt, so to say. But those who were also not in Port Harcourt, we emailed them because we got the contact, phone number, email, and we emailed them. We reached out to over 50 of them, but not all of them were willing to talk about their business. It was only 11 that we finally published. So where am I getting to? That's why I say, if you really have an interest, you will find a way. You will surely find a way. After all, business is about always finding a way, is it not? If you're going to solve problems that people are having, and you are saying that your own problem is how to reach those people, and because you don't know how to reach those people, you cannot solve their problem, then that is not a business. Abi? Yes. Because business is solving problems, including your own problem on how to solve their own problem. Yes, go ahead.
I have something. I understand what you are saying, but my point is that because interview and survey is two different things. When we are talking about interview, you have to go to the customers or consumers face to face. You can go with your paper and pen, ask them questions, and then get the responses from them. But in terms of survey, you need to have a questionnaire, administer to them, and then get responses from them. And that is costlier. So I can do both. No, I can decide to take one if I don't have money. That is interview.
These are all options.
There are options. There are alternatives.
It doesn't mean you must apply all the options. For example, we also did a questionnaire for this, which we shared. and which we discovered that these people never had time to attend to the questionnaire. So we had to go visit them. I remember that it took me 3 months to be able to get an appointment with Tuela, the owner of the Promise Factory. It took me 3 months of going before I finally got an appointment with him. But we are determined. Yeah. So it doesn't mean you will apply all the options. You choose the one that works well for you, and then you'll be able to get it right. Okay, next slide, please. Thank you. Yeah, secondary data. We've talked about that. So this, all of what we have here is just how you be able at the end of the day to be able to get reliable data. We live in a country where data is, for example, yes, Gilbert, when you were in school, some of those organizations you mentioned you were part of. If I ask you how many members do you have, sometimes people will be scratching their head. Is it not? Something as simple as you are in an association, you are leading, you could be the president or whatever, yet you don't know the number of people in that association. Something so simple. So we have problem of data in our country. However, qualitative market research is a technique of asking open-ended questions. I see other people doing it a lot online. They threw up open-ended questions and people are responding and discussing and haven't you seen it before? People are discussing. Sometimes those people are actually doing research you wouldn't know. Sometimes they are doing research you wouldn't know. Yeah? So when you ask those open-ended questions, you're able to get feedback. And for a business person, open-ended questions is always a very great tool to be able to know how your that can really help you empathize with your prospective target market, because those responses, when you combine them, it helps you to make well thought out decisions. So that is quantitative market research. Then qualitative, yeah. So next slide. The essence of why I'm going through this is that I want you to understand that having an idea of your target market in terms of size and all of that, which you can only get through market research, is an important element of your pitch. That's just why I want to, steer your mind along this. Let me say that even after today, we will continue engagement online. Yeah, because for you to really and truly qualify to get a grant, you have to show working in so many things. The other group that went through the training last year, this time last year, we are still having weekly engagements. So using our platforms, we have these weekly engagements where we can be able to keep discussing many of these things, where you can share challenges you have, and then all of us can discuss and be able to find solutions that can help you. Remember that this is not like, it's only in school where the essence of going through a course and writing an exam is to either pass it or fail it. I'm saying like the end of the journey is that you write an exam, not so. But in business, the end of the journey is that nobody is hiding anything. We are all on the journey together. We are all sharing ideas. So the end of the journey is that we all desire that you will succeed. Right? So whatever it takes for us to accomplish that, we'll do that. So qualitative research sample questions, things like this, where you say how many text messages you send per day, you give ranges and all of that. So these are all that kind. Next slide. We'll share all of these materials with you. Okay. Qualitative research sample questions. When somebody say, what are the top priorities in your business at the moment? Can that be a yes or no question?
No.
It can never be a yes or no question. You must say something, is it not? That is when you are conducting this kind of research. Okay, let's progress. Let's progress. All right. So, do's and don'ts. When you have this material, you can take time and look at this. Next slide. Seeing the future. Let's take this together. What does it say? Because as at that time, that was the mode of transportation, horses. So when we say market research and you ask people, most likely you get to know what people want, right? But you remember that as an entrepreneur, most times, that's why we have been talking about asking the right question in your problem statement. Most times, you want to solve a problem. You are not necessarily focused on a product or a service, but you want to solve a problem. And that solution can come in different shapes and sizes. It can even come in a form that does not exist at the moment. Is it not? Which is what everyone is talking about here. So during his time, we are mostly using horses. Yeah? But he thought of a faster way to solve the problem of transportation. Next slide. So, addressable market. What do we see here? So, for you now, you are looking at higher institutions in Port Harcourt, right? In River State. And you can easily get to know the number of students admitted in any of these institutions. That begins to look like the total addressable market. But inside the number of students in the institutions of higher learning in River State, will all of them patronize you? So the total addressable market, you are looking at the total possible market demand for your product or your service. Total possible. So if you're saying that if each of these students patronize me and give me and pay XYZ amount, the total possible revenue might be XYZ amount. But inside the total addressable market, you also have a portion of that target market that your product or service can serve. So, the whole of River State, is it possible that you may not be able to get to some parts of River State, probably because of logistics? Let's say if you're operating from this way, what of that way towards Ori, that end? Of course, we have high institutions there. So the question would be, will you be able to cover all of that geographical space? So you begin to look at the serviceable available market. Even within the serviceable available market, so you are asking yourself, what is the percentage of that serviceable available market which is realistically reached? That becomes your market share. So all the students in high institutions in River State, like you have pictured, they might be potential customers, right? But all can never be your customer, in the sense that it's possible that you may not be able to reach all. It's possible that all may not have need for that your product. So your market share becomes the serviceable or obtainable market. We are using his concepts to illustrate this, but in your own proposed business or your ongoing business, it is also the same thing, right? It's the same thing. And so we expect that in your pitch today, you should be able to mention the market size. That is the essence of this review we are doing this morning. So you should be able to think about the market size. Because having an idea of the market size, not just the total addressable market, not just the serviceable available market, but your market share, your prospective market share, that helps you to have an idea of your break-even point, which ultimately comes to your business plan. So the issue of market size is a very critical issue. Any question on that? Any question on that? Any question on that? Okay, now, all right, next slide. So the market size, still the same thing we have explained. This is for a company A, B, and B. I'm sure some of us know about A, B, and B, right? But without bothering about any other company, I want you to think about your own business based on the illustration we have used his business to do. So think about your own business. The same way we have used his business to illustrate this is just what you ought to be able to do in your own business. Is anybody thinking along that line?
Yes, sir.
All right, next slide. Thank you very much. This is the first review for this morning. And help me to put up the pitching grading criteria. Help me to put it up. I think it's one of the things I sent to you.
Yes, sir.
Help me to put it up so that we can just run through it, so that they can review their pitch. So when you are, for those who have not gone to market yet, when you are planning to go to market, you must think about the market, the size of the market. No, be so. Oloma, if person wants to go buy something from market, the person must have an idea of what he wants or she wants to buy. No, be so.
Yes, sir.
And more often than not, the person may have a list of things. Even if it's mental or written, there must be a list. No, be so.
Yes.
And more often than not, the person may also have an idea of, based on the prices, an idea, the likely idea to spend, is it not? So if we do that on a regular basis in our domestic needs, think about your business. It's even much more important that it has to be done. Have you seen it?
Yes, my network was open.
Okay. So how has it been going? Clustering your ideas, putting up your what's it called? Your what did you work with? Your business model. So how is your canvas looking like? I'm seeing beautiful colors of sticky notes. All right, so let's look at this. Let's look at this. So this is to help you to understand what we expect to be in your pitch. We'll be talking about the problem statement. So what is the problem you want to solve? So you introduce yourself when you come on for the pitch. Introduce yourself. Tell us the problem you want to solve. And what is the solution, or what are the solutions that you have been able to come up with based on your research. You tell us about the market, the size of the market, and probably the opportunity you have been able to spot in the market. And that is why we just discussed about market size now, total addressable market, and your market share. So you talk to us about the market. Then you talk to us about the product. Is there anybody here who has a physical product to show us? Anybody? Anybody? So assuming you have a physical product to show us, is at this point you show us your physical product. So this is like a flow chart, kind of. Then what is the growth or the major goals that you have for your business concept or idea? So, for example, maybe I have started, I have done X, Y, Z, or I haven't done everything, but I have been able to do this, and from what I have done here, so you talk about the traction here.
I was calling your phone was off.
Are there people that will help you to work on this? What this usually means is that it's possible you have somebody whose experience or training might be a plus for the business. So at that point you mention it. But if you don't, no problem. No need bothering yourself if you don't. But if there's anybody that you want to work with whose experience or training will be a boost to that business, mention it. Then are there people who are already into this competition? Yeah? And then you talk about the financials. So in this financial part, what we are looking at is how will you deploy the grant if given the grant? Where in the business will it go into? What will it go into for? So you talk about your financials. If you, from your research, what is the likely revenue? So all of those things come under your research. Yeah, the use of your, I said, come under your, so your likely revenue come under, yeah. It shows that you have a knowledge of how you're going to reach your goals financially. And it tells us about what you're going to do with the funds. So all of these are under your financial part. So these are just like the key elements that we are going to score you on when you make your pitch. Any question on that? Any question on that? Okay. So we are good. If you have a question, you can just feel free to ask. If there's any, okay, you wanted to ask a question, right?
Yes, you made mention of products. If you have
The physical product.
a physical product, what of those in service?
No, it doesn't. That, yeah, that's why I say if you have a physical product, because if your business involves a physical product, but you know, it makes more, it adds more flesh to what you're talking about. Okay. Any other question apart from that one? Any other question? Okay, great. Before I leave you to review your pitch, okay, before I leave you to review your pitch, please let me just quickly run through those new modules now, module 2 and 3. I just want to quickly run through them, those new ones. So that you can have, is there anybody still having challenges with his or her business problem statement? You would have noticed that we've not been placing so much emphasis on your business plan, it doesn't mean you will not write it. Just that for these few days we'll be spending together, our target is to cover all the fundamentals. Then after today, just put up to the after today, go to three. Then after today, you will focus on putting your business plan together. Because if you get all of these things was being right, your business plan will flow from there. Okay? So you will still submit your business plan to us.
Today.
No, not today.
Okay, follow me. No, you need to ask. You guys are not close.
The one that is that.
You submit it before you.
Yes. And if you write exam on top, you know that.
Write exams.
You guys are very
Asking to go with the board.
You submit things before you just